Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be going into the historic best of ones, which is a place that I haven't visited very often, but after playing Captain Sisay in Historic Brawl, I kind of really wanted to see what we could do with her in just normal constructed, so that's what we're going to be doing today when the deck builder loads up. There it goes. Alright, so Captain Sisay, for those who don't know, he's a 4-mana 2-2. You get to tap it and search your library for a legendary card, reveal that card and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. As many of you know, I do really enjoy legendary tribal decks. I think they're just really cool and interesting, so this is one that I wanted to show off. Sisay probably feels a little bit more like a Winmore, I guess. But, you know, we're just here to have a little bit of fun. We'll see what we can do. So, as far as Sisay is concerned, we have so many options that we can choose from. A lot of one-ofs as well in the deck, just as, like, catch-alls for certain matchups, or just a win even more kind of card, because that's what this channel's all about, is winning even more. So the main one that Sisay tends to grab is actually Urza's Ruinous Blast, which is our one-sided board wipe, or mostly one-sided anyway. We do have some non-legendaries in here to fill out the curve and also catch some things that legendary creatures don't really do that well. So 5 mana, exile all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. So as I mentioned, we have some non-legendaries in our deck. We have Knight of Autumn, which is going to be our artifact and enchantment removal. And it also gives us a little bit of life gain and +1/+1 counters, which basically is a nice utility card to give us some early game. So we don't really mind losing Knight of Autumn to the Ruinous Blast in the late game, because it's mostly here to help with the early game anyway. And it has some late game potential in killing artifacts and enchantments, which is reasonably relevant. We also have 4 copies of Mindstone as well, which is that early game mana ramp as well. I chose this over Gift of Paradise, mostly because of the card advantage. It's not something that we have too much of in our deck. The only card advantage we really have is Captain Sisay, of course, but that requires us to tap out, so I didn't really want to rely wholeheartedly on that. So we've got things like the Great Henge and the Immortal Sun as well. 2 things that can be pulled with Captain Sisay, so that's why they're one of the one-ofs in the deck. We also have Tristani, in case our opponent mass manipulates, we can grab Tristani and get back our creatures. Kamal's Druidic Vow is that win even more kind of card. Green X, look at the top X card of your library and put any number of lands or legendary permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield and the rest into your graveyard. You want to be X6ing this, because apart from the Great Henge and our non-legendaries, that's basically what you want to be. You want to be hitting that so you can get as many chances of a good card as possible. We are running Mox Amber, and we're running that over a selected few amount of lands as well, just because this can count as an additional land drop for the turn, kind of like a Lotus Petal effect. If we've got something like Tomic, which is really good against Nissa, which I'm expecting to see today. 2 white for 2/3 flying. Lands on the battlefield and land cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. So basically, Nissa cannot animate any lands, which is what we're really using Tomic for here. So that's another one we can pull with Sisay to lock out those mono green decks. I'm assuming that's going to be a thing. I haven't played Historic in a very long time, so we'll have to see. And then we got Danither Capuchin Paragon, which is really good at early game aggression, again, killing that off. I will say that I think aggro is probably our best matchup, because a lot of our cards are very life gain oriented. Danither, obviously being a first strike, vigilance, and life linking creature, is pretty sweet. And equipment costs are 1 less, so we've got a copy of Blackblade in here. It's one of my favourite equipments ever printed. With the cost reduction, it's 1 to play and 3 to equip onto a legendary creature, so a lot of our stuff is going to be able to equip that quite nicely. We got the Questing Beasts, which are kind of obligatory. Got to be running those Questing Beasts for that early game pressure against control decks and things like that. We got Shalai, which gives us protection from hand disruption and targeted removal, forcing our opponent to deal with the Shalai first, which might be what we need to play something like Danither and Blackblade without it being removed in response, something along that lines. We got Lyra, again, to just win the game if our opponent's playing an aggro deck. 5/5 with First Strike and Lifelink is insanely hard to deal with. We've got Tolsimir as kind of a fight and removal spell as well. 2 Settler Wreckages, just in case our opponent's playing a lot of legendary permanents, then we might want to get in with Settler Wreckage. Questing Beast is the main one that I'm thinking that I need these Settler Wreckages for, since this one comes straight on in and does not get Ruinous Blasted, and I think this is probably the main problem card for us, which is another reason why we're in Questing Beast, just so we can trade off with the beasts themselves. So that's essentially the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. We're going to see what we come up against. I'm expecting a lot of green. I don't really know, though. I'm not really sure. But Nissa doesn't stand a chance, and I think most aggro decks shouldn't stand a chance. So we'll see what happens. Alright, without further ado, make sure to hit the like button if you do enjoy the video and you want to see more of this. Other than that, though, I will see you at the end. Okay, we're in, and this hand's, it's got some ramp in it, and some board wipes. I think on the strength of Settler Wreckage we can probably keep this hand. It's slow, of course, though, but if we get a big legendary, then the Great Henge can draw us out of a bad hand, for sure. I don't know. This is basically the first ever hand I'm seeing, so I'm not entirely sure what to expect from this list, so we'll see. I'm going to crack Fable Passage for a plane, since we have Tomic as a white-white source. We might want to shock it in for the Temple Garden. Not entirely sure, but against a matchup like this, Tomic's here for Nissa decks. And this isn't a Nissa matchup, so shouldn't have to worry about that. Stitchers. Supplier. Alright, well, we're going to go on Knight of Autumn and stick 2 counters on it and make a 4-power creature, giving cost reduction on the Great Henge. I think that's the ideal thing to do, and we've got some backup as well. I should really look at what's in my opponent's graveyard. We'll get to that soon enough. Let's have a look-see. Outlaw's Merriment. Okay. Bit of a weird combo with Stitcher's Supplier and Stormfist Crusader, for sure, but who am I to judge? Right, yeah, not getting a land drop there kind of sucks. I don't really want to crack my Mind Stone, because that doesn't get me anywhere either. So, we're going to pass. Stormfist is going to draw us a card. Kamal's Druidic Vow. Yeah, not a land. Come on. Passes. Okay, well there's a land. So now we can do the Great Henge if we wanted to. I kind of like the idea of doing that. They've got blue in their deck as well. Is this? I think this is like a Dance of the Manse deck, so I don't really have to worry about that blue too much. So I don't think it's counter magic. Alright, well we're going to pass because last turn they didn't attack in with their Crusader, so I'm hoping that my Knight of Autumn was responsible for that. And yeah, the life gain on this thing is... oh, the life loss, should I say, is really not relevant. Since we've got basically a life gain deck in a nutshell. Doom Foretold. That's going to be annoying, for sure. So yeah, we are kind of Dance of the Manse style. Again though, why are you letting me draw cards? Isn't the point of Doom Foretold kind of mana denial? Oh, maybe that's just me. Alright, well, let's try draw lots of cards, shall we? We're going to go Knight of Autumn, kill Doom Foretold, boop, put a counter on it, as is Ruinous Blast. Let's go Danither, let's have a 3-3 life-linking, first striking, vigilant creature, and a land drop as well. So yeah, I think we're in a really good spot here. We've got lots of fodder for future Doom Foretold, so we don't really care there. As soon as they've got like a critical mass of things on board, I'm sure we'll be able to Ruinous Blast away all of their enchantments, since none of them are legendary and they get exiled as well. There's a Doom Foretold. So we'll get rid of this 3-2 Knight of Autumn, I guess. And a Stitcher's Supplier, okay. I mean, maybe this is a Ruinous Blast turn. Let's crack our Fable Passage. We already have a land drop for the turn, so we don't need another. We'll grab Plains, because it's the predominant colour in our deck. There was a Drakaseth. Oh boy, we're trying to do many, 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 many things in this deck. Alright, so goodbye, Knight of Autumn. Captain Sisay, sweetie. Alright, so let's go Urza's Ruinous Blast. Exile some stuff. I really wish I had 1 extra mana, but... we don't. So, yeah, just Ruinous Blast. Keep my Danatha, get rid of the Doom Foretold, the Stitch of Suppliers. And then we'll play Mind Stone. Get in for 3. Boop. Probably going to crack the Mind Stone for card draw, since Ruinous Blast will get rid of it anyway. And we've got a reasonable amount of mana as it stands. But of course we're not going to do that right now, just in case they go Doom Foretold, because we do need that fodder. As well as having Kamal's Druidic Vow as well, being an option for us. I actually really like the idea of going for a huge vow. Destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Alright. Well, goodbye, Great Henge Value. That could be a problem. Blackblade says, no problemo. My friendo. Equip Legendary Creature. Start swinging for 9. Alright. Doom Foretold is going to suck here. But we do have Questing Beast to take our opponent to 1 if we do lose Danatha. Outlaw's Merriment. Yep, that's not going to do it. And game over. Okay, we're in, and we have a turn 2 Tonic, which could be relevant. Settle the Wreckage if our opponent is aggro, and we got the mana to do it. Shalai and Sisay to protect, and also to make absurd card advantage. So our opponent is a green deck, which means Tonic has a good chance of being good. So Temple Garden tapped. We don't actually have a 1-drop in our deck, so it's nice to have those Shocklands and Fable Passages on turn 1. And Paradise Druid for our opponent. Okay. So we're going to go Sunpetal Grove and play Tonic. Just gives us a good blocker for those 2 creatures. And shuts off Nissa, should it be relevant. Lands on the battlefield. Can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Isn't it lovely? So, this is going to be... well, it looks like Mono Green Adventures. Kind of... don't know what to say about that, to be honest. Looks weird. I don't know if they're going to be running Lucky Charm. That would be one of my reasons to keep Knight of Autumn around in my hand. So I think I'm just going to put counters on Knight of Autumn. Yeah. And that means that we can swing in with the Tonic and still have blockers back for the creatures. Settle the Wreckage is going to be up shortly. There's Lovestruck Beast, draw a card. 3 mana left. And no attacks. Alright. So I think this is where we go Captain Sisay. If we get to untap with that, which in this particular matchup I think is going to be a pretty good chance of happening, then we get to go grab whatever we want. Urza's Ruinous Blast is one-sided for the most part. We're going to lose Knight of Autumn, but I'm happy to block with Knight of Autumn here anyway. Draw 5 cards for 5 mana. It's pretty good. It is pretty good indeed. So what are we going to be grabbing with Sisay? I think it's got to be the Ruinous Blast. Yeah, I think my opponent attacking here... oh, okay. So it's like mono green adventures. Because you don't run this card otherwise. You just straight up don't. Okay, so... let's thin the deck. Let's grab a white source since we got a green one in our hand. And I think this is just where we Ruinous Blast. We've always got the Ruinous Blast next turn as well, so I think we might as well. Urza's Ruinous Blast. Get rid of everything on board on your side. Opponent loves those emotes. I got another one if you really enjoy it, opponent. Gotta use them a little bit sparingly, because we only have 2 in the deck. Alright. Garenbrig Carver. So I think this is where we just start questing beasting our opponent. Let's see. Got 2 cost reduction on the Great Henge. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get questing beast in. I don't really know what I want to grab with Sisay. It's probably going to be an end step grab, if I had to guess. So let's get in with these 2. End step grab and then find something that we can cast for full value. Something like the Great Henge, as an example. Okay, is this this is instant speed. Okay, just checking. There's the Great Henge. Nothing we can really do about that. Need to top deck a Knight of Autumn, essentially. And then Jade Light Ranger. See if they can get that up to 4 power. They can't. Okay. Do we Ruinous Blast them again? It's 8 damage, so it's not quite where we want to be. Although, actually, is there a world where I can... Oh, they did get a 4-3. Yeah, of course the Great Henge does its thing. Yeah, I think we're just going to Ruinous Blast them again. Alright, well, now let's Ruinous Blast. And just get in for some sick damage. Do we actually go with, like, Sisay grab Mindstone? Or do we go for... I think we just go for full value, because we got Tomic in the air for the last 2 damage. There's Edgewall Innkeeper. So yeah, they're going to have to find an answer to Tomic. They're going to need to be able to block Questing Beasts. We have no more Urza's Ruinous Blast, so we can't just clear the board again. Okay. So they're up to 4. I did actually not count the Great Henge's final damage for Tomic, but that's fine. Because we can go Captain Sisay, grab Blackblade Reforged. It's lethal. Yeah, alright. So, opponent's not doing anything relevant. Just playing out their cards. So, Captain Sisay, grab Blackblade Reforged. Play Blackblade Reforged. Equip Blackblade Reforged. And let's get in. Nice. Alrighty then. Alright, we're in, and yep, I like this hand. It's got turn 3 Danither, and we can ramp out with a Mox Amber into a Shalai, so we've got that 4 mana mostly guaranteed, I would say. This is good for early game aggression killing, so if our opponent's got any red stuff to do, then they're going to need shocks and whatnot to get rid of Danither, which is fine by me, because even that's just going to absorb damage as well. So yeah, absolutely going to keep this hand. I like it. And we'll see what we can do. Opponent mulls to 6 and is on the play. It's a red deck, so likely to be a matchup where Danither is going to be useful. We're going to lead with Tomic though. Immolation, Shaman. Whenever an opponent activates an ability, I take 1 damage when I use my Sisay. Okay. Sure. Alright, well, Tomic, I think we're going to win this one because we have Danither, which demands being removed, and then we've got Lyra, which is near on impossible to remove, into the Great Henge, which starts gaining his life as well. So this seems like a pretty difficult matchup for our opponent. Alright, so let's go Mox Amber. And do have 4 mana, so we could play Shalai. Yeah, I actually don't mind that. Now they need Lava Coil or double removal. And then next turn, Lyra pumps Shalai into a 5 toughness creature with lifelink. And things get disgusting. They need Rampaging Ferostodon to really get in my way now. Which is just not going to happen. Alright, so we have Hexproof, which means that Chandra doesn't do anything. Which is funny. Alright, so now we got Lyra. Let's kill Chandra. So, we gain some life. No target, so Chandra doesn't deal any damage to us. Card advantage is dead. They've got 2 cards. Neheb is just block fodder. And yeah, we just go Great Henge into Danither. Make Danither a 3/3 first striking, life-linking monster. Dulcimere just murders everything as well. This is the matchup that we're looking for. Best of 1, aggro. Because we're just jam-packed full of life gain. So even if they had something to stop us gaining life at this point, we're already at 35 with an absolutely disgustingly dominating board state. Could care less about Neheb doing anything here. So we'll take the 5, go down to 30. Our opponent can discard 2 cards. Gain 2 mana they don't need. Neheb and Flame Sweep, yeah, they're useful. And yeah, I don't see our opponent can get anything that matters here. So I suppose the only thing they've got really is Chandra Awakened Inferno, get rid of Tomic, and then Danither, and then we just swing for lethal. So yeah, cool, sweet. Okay, we're in. We got cards. I'm keeping it. I've had like 3 auto scoops in a row, so I'm just going to keep a playable hand and we're going to get on with it. See what our opponent's playing. That's a good old Vivian. Green, black. Yeah, it's been a weird one today for sure. I've had too many non-games where opponents have just like scooped in the first 3 turns, and unfortunately those non-games where they scooped in the first 3 turns, it kind of looked like our opponent had an interesting deck, which is the worst thing about the whole situation, is because I kind of really want to see some interesting decks. The people who've stuck around, unfortunately, have been the ones that are running Mono Blue Tempo, which I'm not gonna show you Mono Blue Tempo. Don't you worry, you don't have to see it. So we're up against Saprolings, which is going to be an interesting matchup. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen here. We're going to get Immortal Sundown next turn by the looks of things. Nope. Alright. Shalai dies, which shuts off Mox Amber, which unfortunately puts us behind on the mana curve. But we get Sisay. So that's not bad. We get to Thin with Fabled Passage. We're going to be able to just play Immortal Sun next turn, regardless of what our opponent does here. So hopefully we can stabilize, since we're going to be losing our Sisay again. We're going to Thin for, I think, just plains. We are predominantly white in this deck, so once we got our double green, probably don't really need too much more after that. Settle the Wreckage is a good one. 2, 4, 6, 7. I kind of feel like we play Night of Autumn and then hold up and... we can't hold up and sell the Wreckage because we don't have Mox Amber. I guess I'm going with the Immortal Sun. We'll grab 1 Forest so that we can play 2 green spells in the same turn, since we are going to be drawing 2 cards next turn. Hope this gets us there. I'm worried a little bit about death effects and things like that, but luckily for us, most of our removal, or our board wipes at the very least, we're at 3. Oh boy. Are actually exile based, so we've got that going for us. So I really don't want to die. It's probably my ideal situation. So let's go with Tristani. Make some life linkers, and I think we're going to go with Night of Autumn as well. And gain life for this one. Hopefully that gets us there. So we have to worry about fungal infection, because a lot of Saproling players like to play fungal infection. Tend to shoot Dryad's pretty bad. Oh boy. Alright, so let's double block one. I guess we're trading with the other. Are we trading with the other? What's Knight of Autumn doing for us? Nothing really. If we get like Urza's Ruinous Blast, then we will pretty much regret not throwing Knight of Autumn under the bus. So we go up to 9. Our opponent makes a 4-4, and we need a really good card here. Lyra's not bad. Okay. So I would like to put some green down and go with the Great Henge here. And we will pass with Settle the Wreckage open. See if our opponent wants to play around it. Got the double white. Alright, pumping up the squad. Come at me, bro. Yeah, they're playing around Settle the Wreckage. We're going to have to force them to play into it a little bit more at a later date, but maybe this is just a fine settle as it is, since we got the Lyra, and we're drawing 2 cards. Yeah, let's just take it. It's not ideal, but Ruinous Blast still gets us there. Lyra's going to be drawing us some cards. We're gaining life off the Great Henge. They are gaining 5/5s every turn off this Tendershoot Dryad, which definitely needs answering, but could just draw a good card, and then all of our problems are solved. Deathbloom Thallid. Well, I'm not going to be the one killing that, so it's not really a relevant card, per se. We draw land, terrible, and Lyra, terrible. Let's go with... I want to tap our Mox Ambers just in case we lose our legendaries for some reason. Ooh, a Ketra. That's not bad. And then Knight of Autumn. No artifacts and enchantments to look at here. We got a 6/9, which is amazing, and we're making 6/6s. So we're putting a counter on it. Good game, our opponent says. Good game. Yeah, went too wide for our opponent. And eventually we draw Urza's Ruinous Blast. We clear the way, we swing for lethal, and we've got too many first striking and life linking creatures for our opponent to deal any damage to us. We're already back up to 17 as well, so pretty decent. Pretty decent. Alright, we're in, and we've got a rampish hand here. I'm going to keep this. I'm not in love with it, but having Mindstone on 2, hopefully some land drops as well for maybe an early Ketra into Tolsimir, seems pretty good. I also have the Mox Amber, which counts as ramp once we've got to an early game, whatever it is we're going for. Mono White Primate by the looks of things, okay. Made ever the more popular by the Soul Sisters coming into the fray from the historic anthology. So we've got 4 mana working with us next turn. The best top decker for us, I guess, is Questing Beast, just to play that curve. Urza's Ruinous Blast. Alright, well, yeah, it's either land or legendary creature off the top. Otherwise, we might just be in trouble here. Opponent with the Gideon Blackblade. And that can give lifelink to the Primate. Vanguard now, because they've got 3 creatures, will also pump Primate. So yeah, I'm going to need a good answer real soon. Tolsimir is not quite going to cut it now at killing the Primate at the very least. Alright, well, we got land. We do have Urza's Ruinous Blast as well, so it's not to be laughed at. Alright, I think we're going with the God Eternal Ketra for now. And then we can go into Tolsimir, which will give us some tokens to work with. We've got Prism Realms. Really need them to not have removal. Alright, Soul Warden and Ajani's Primate. This is the greatest Urza's Ruinous Blast of all time. We do need God Eternal Ketra around, so we got to block appropriately. And yeah, just going to block the most damage. I'm sure this is getting indestructible, okay. Didn't need it, but sure. So we're just going to block there and take 7. And we're going to win. So we're going to tap the Mind Stone, because we're going to lose it otherwise. We're going to Urza's Ruinous Blast, get rid of everything except for Gideon, and then Ketra swings in and kills Gideon. Boop. Perfect. Opponent loses. It is as simple as that as far as I'm concerned. Anything they play can get Tolsomired. We can Great Henge soon enough as well. Atomic makes a 4-4. Tolsomir makes a 4-4 and a 3-3. There's Gideon. He's already dead.
This is a prime day for justice.
Goes up to 5. Ketra deals 6. There's Sisay. Yeah, I'm just going to Sisay. She can get me a Mox Amber, which is ramp. Not going to mess about. Just going to kill that Gideon. As long as they've got nothing on board, I have nothing to worry about. I don't think they're going to be running board wipes in a deck like this. And yep, they've had enough. Alright, cool. Okay, we're in, and I actually really enjoy the look of this hand. I'm not blown away by Kamal's Druidic Vow, since it's kind of that late game card you don't really want to see. But the rest of it's just fine. We got Danither into Mox Amber, which can get us that Sisay. And then hopefully Sisay, if left untouched, can get us whatever we want. Alright, it's another Primate match, so more rematches of well-established decks. I'm just going to play Mox Amber because opponent's not going to be able to do anything about it. It's just quicker than going over here and clicking that skip button. Alright, Johnny's Primate, doing the thing. So what we want to do is we want to go Sun Petal Grove and play Sisay, which will trigger the Soul Warden and pump the Primate. But what we actually have here is a situation where I can just go and Ruinous Blast if I really want to. Another Soul Warden. I'm thinking by the end of this turn I'm gonna want to Ruinous Blast and win the game. Alright, so we're gonna take 10 damage. It's pretty good, but then our opponent's board will have nothing left on it, so go to 9 and win the game. So we go Sun Petal Grove, Captain Sisay, get Urza's Ruinous Blast, and make sure to tap this Mind Stone because it's going away. Goodbye, board state. Alright. Cool. From there, our opponent really can't play anything that we care about. Impassioned Orator, yeah, we can Tolsomir that or something. We're literally at that or something stage of the game where I can just pick whatever I want and it's probably a fine idea. We'll go with God Eternal Ketra, why not? Why the heck not? And we can even play Mind Stone into a Ketra here. Alright, so a Ketra starts making us some 4-4, so Danither's making a 4-4.6 power on board. We could get... I don't know. At this point, is the Great Henge a good idea? Is another Ruinous Blast a good idea? We could probably wait on the Ruinous Blast a little while. Alright, so we got some... It's basically a legendary land drop. Let's Sisay for... I don't know. Black Blade's good. Opponent's good gaming. Yeah, they've had enough. They've had enough. Alright, well. Easy one-sided victory. Alright, that is gonna do it for today's video. So, yeah, this deck's a lot of fun. It does have a pretty miserable matchup, I found out, against most control decks. Anything that's running counter magic, it seems to really struggle with. I think that's probably where it'll shine in a best of 3 situation, but as soon as you get into the best of 3s, you've got the Nexus of Fates to deal with, and I imagine they're also a bad matchup, so by turning this into a best of 3 deck to counter the control decks, I think you're also adding another matchup that's probably not very good for you either. So it's a bit of a weird one. I do want to return to this deck at some point in the future to try it in a best of 3 situation, probably after the Theros Beyond Death comes out, and we'll try it like in an Abzan shell, because there is a black-white hound legendary creature that Sisay can pull, which acts kind of like a Grafdigger's Cage, so that gives us the graveyard hate that this deck doesn't really have. as an option. So I do want to try this kind of as an Abzan list. We could even put like Kethis in here for some cost reductions to do with Kethis and Sisay. I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, Historic is a bit of a weird one. I've had a bit of a miserable time with it. There's been a few like non-game matchups today. I don't want to go into it too much because I feel like I've already ranted enough on the Discord. But yeah, strangely enough, even though we're playing in a format without dailies, which is so irritating, it's one of the main reasons why I don't play Historic at all, is that there's no dailies to be done. It seems to not really deter people from playing the net decks that I was happy rotated. Things like Mono Blue Tempo were just everywhere for some reason, and it's just a non-game situation. They run out of counters and you win, or they don't run out of counters and you lose, so I don't know. I didn't include any of that footage today because it just wasn't fun, and I think we came up against Espera control variants a lot of the time as well, which again was just a non-game. We just didn't do anything, so I didn't include them. I tried to include just the interesting stuff, so hopefully you guys enjoyed what I gave you today. But yeah, I'm going to leave it off here. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.